Today marks 57 years since the end of the Nigerian Civil War, a conflict that left deep wounds on the land once known as Biafra and forever altered the lives of millions of people. For many Nigerians, particularly the Igbo people who bore the brunt of the conflict, this is not merely a date on the calendar. It is a solemn reminder of lives lost, dreams shattered, communities destroyed, and a humanitarian tragedy that the world can never afford to forget. More than half a century later, the promises of healing, reconciliation, and national unity remain subject of intense debates. The scars of the war are still visible in the hearts of many who believe that the circumstances that led to the conflict were never fully or at all addressed, and that the consequences of the war continue to shape the realities of the present day. As we remember this painful chapter in our history, we must not only mourn the dead, but also reflect on the lessons of the past, the unfinished conversation of the present, and the future that still awaits a complete reconciliation. This is not merely a reflection on a war that ended 57 years ago. It is a reflection on a pain that many believe never truly ended. Now, it is important to reflect on this. Today marks 57 years since the guns of the Nigerian Civil War fell silent. On paper, the war ended in January 1970 with the famous declaration of no victor, no vanquished. Yet for millions of Igbo people and many more who believed or lived through the horrors of that very conflict, the echoes of that very war still reverberate across generations. The Nigerian Civil War was not merely a military confrontation, as public were made to know. It was a human tragedy that claimed countless lives, displaced families, shattered communities, and left emotional scars that remain visible even today. More than half a century later, the questions that ignited the conflict continue to haunt the conscience of the nation, Nigeria. Following the war, the federal government announced the policy of the 3 R's: reconciliation, reconstruction, and rehabilitation. These principles were intended to heal a broken nation and restore hope to those devastated by the conflict. The reconciliation requires trust. Reconstruction requires investment. Rehabilitation requires restoration of dignity. Yet, many Igbos believe that decades after the war, they still struggle against political exclusion, economic disadvantages, and inadequate federal presence in their region. Roads, infrastructure, seaports, railway networks, and federal investments in the Southeast are frequently cited as evidence by those who argue that these 3 R's remain incomplete or completely invisible. The declaration of no victor, no vanquished was noble in theory. In practice, however, many continue to ask whether the spirit of that very declaration was ever implemented. If no one was conquered, why do so many descendants of Biafra still feel burdened by the consequences of a war they did not fight? Why has it become a sin for somebody that is from the Southeast region to call himself a Biafran, whereas it can never be a crime for someone that is from the North to call himself an Arewa person? Why has it remained an offense for someone that is from the Eastern region to call himself a Biafran, whereas somebody that is from the Western region that is in Yoruba land is free to call himself an Oduduwa person? Why are the Igbo still feel compelled to prove their loyalty and belonging within the nation, the Nigerian Federation? One of the most painful memories of the war remains the policy that limited many former Biafrans to 20 pounds regardless of the amount they had in bank accounts before the conflict. For countless families, generations of savings disappeared overnight. Many observers argued that few societies could have endured such economic devastation and still rebuild with the resilience demonstrated by the Igbo people. Through trade, entrepreneurship, education, and hard work, the region gradually recovered despite immense setbacks. Now, whether one agrees or disagrees with the policies of that very era, the determination of ordinary Igbo men and women remains one of the remarkable stories of the survival in African history. Now, the questions of acceptance and belonging have also refused to disappear completely. Many Igbos continue to express concerns about political representation, federal appointments, security politics, and what they perceive as unequal treatment within the Nigerian state. Whether these very perceptions are fully justified or not, the fact that they persist after 57 years suggests that unresolved grievances still remain. Perhaps no issue better illustrates the unfinished business of the war than the continuing debate surrounding the Aburi Accord. The meeting held in Aburi, Ghana in 1967 remains one of the most controversial episodes in Nigerian history. The different participants and historians have offered varying accounts of what was agreed upon and why the agreement ultimately collapsed. Successive generations have inherited competing narratives rather than a universally accepted historical account. As a result, the truth of Aburi Accords remains a subject of debate, speculation, and political interpretation till today. History becomes dangerous when it is not honestly confronted. Nations heal when difficult truths are examined openly, not when they are buried beneath silence. 57 years later, many still ask, what exactly happened? Could the war have been avoided? Who bears responsibility of the war? Why did the negotiation fail? These questions deserve continued historical inquiry rather than political censorship. The pain becomes even more profound when we remember the humanitarian catastrophe of the war. Images of starving children, desperate mothers, and communities cut off from the food remain among the darkest memories in modern African history. Hundreds of thousands, and according to some estimates, over 1 million people gave up in ghost from that very starvation and some other war-related conditions. For many families, justice was never achieved because their loved ones were never acknowledged beyond statistics. A people who suffered such loss naturally carry memories that do not disappear with time. And that is why, if anyone comes up today to talk about Biafra, the ideology, the emotion surrounding this particular thing resurfaces again. It is also impossible to discuss these issues without mentioning the continued tensions across parts of the Southeast. The frequent reports of insecurity, military presence, military operations, armed groups, and civilian casualties, which have led some observers to describe the region as living under the shadow of undeclared conflict. Whether one agrees with that very characterization or not, there is no doubt that many communities continue to live with fear, uncertainty, and mistrust. Now, the continued detention and prosecution of figures such as Nnamdikanu has become another symbol of these very unresolved grievances. To his supporters, he represents a man raising uncomfortable questions about justice, federalism, and self-determination to his people. To his critics, he represents a challenge to national unity and constitutional order. Now, regardless of where one stands, the persistence of the issue he highlighted demonstrates that the underlying debates have not disappeared. Many also wonder why expressions of regional identity generate different reactions across Nigeria. Why are some regional identities celebrated while others are viewed with suspicion? Why do discussion of self-determination provoke fear rather than dialogue? These are questions that deserve thoughtful national conversation rather than hostility. 57 years after Biafra, perhaps the greatest tragedy is not simply that the war happened. It is that many of the conditions, grievances, fears, and mistrust that contributed to it remain subject of debate today. The memory of Biafra is not merely a memory of defeat or victory. It is a memory of survival. It is a memory of mothers who watched their children starve to death. It is the memory of fathers who lost everything they owned. It is the memory of young women who never returned home. It is the memory of a people who endured unimaginable suffering and yet found the strength to rebuild. As we remember this very painful war today, we should remember not only the deaths, but also the lessons they left behind. A nation cannot heal wounds it refuses to acknowledge. The scars it refuses to acknowledge. Reconciliation requires truth. Unity requires justice. Peace also requires fairness. 57 years later, the cry remains the same. Let history be told honestly. Let justice be pursued sincerely. And let every Nigerian, regardless of ethnicity, feel equally valued in the country they call home. The war ended in 1970. For many, the pain never did. As the sun sets on another anniversary of the Biafra War, we bow our heads in remembrance of the innocent men, women, and children whose lives were cut short by one of the darkest chapters in our history. 57 years later, their voices may be silent, but their story still speaks and would continue to speak. It speaks through the mothers who never saw their children again, through the families that lost everything, and through generations who continue to search for answers, justice, and healing. Just like Nnamdikanu. History should not be remembered to promote division. It should be remembered to prevent the repetition of past mistakes, the sacrifices, the suffering, and the resilience of the people who endured the war, deserving acknowledgement, understanding, and respect. May the souls of all who perished rest in peace. May truth prevail over propaganda, justice prevail over silence, and may future generations inherit a nation who no group feels marginalized, unheard, or unwanted. The scars of Biafra remain, but so does the strength of the people who survived it. Never forget the dead. Never ignore the lessons. Never stop seeking justice, fairness, and lasting peace. 57 years later, we remember. 57 years later, we mourn. 57 years later, the question still remains.